ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here of the Youngbouls podcast, man. First off, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays if you celebrate. It's your boy Dinari here. Kwengo, say what's up to the people, man.
Man, it's your boy Kwengo, man.
Yeah, we got a star-studded show for you guys today. But to get into it, man, first, because this is the first topic we got. You see, I got the Saints skull cap here. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that, man. Saints lost 30-22, man. Last Thursday, we said that if the Saints lost, we weren't going to do an episode till January. But obviously, we love doing this podcast so much. That's the only reason why we're here today. But yeah, man, let's just get into it, man, because last Thursday was such a heartbreaking game. Franco, you want to start off by saying anything, man?
In my opinion, honestly, we played a bad game. We were clearly missing our top two DBs. We were clearly missing our safety. We were clearly missing Marshawn Lattimore. We really needed Marshawn Lattimore and Marcus May, especially Lattimore. Because Cup was, I'm not going to lie, Cup didn't have that great of a game. Like we played good defense on Cup. But
crazy.
Isaac Yadam, he gave, and this is a man coverage, by the way. Man press got burned by Puka all game. Barbecue chicken every time.
And that's not even the craziest thing. If we lost because of Puka himself, I would be like, oh, that's Puka. Puka's been doing his thing all season, right? But we lost not only from Puka, but from Demarcus Robinson. Well, if you don't remember who Demarcus Robinson was, I'm pretty sure he was on the Chiefs. Like, he was let go by the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And dude was scoring touchdowns, making crazy catches all downfield, everything like that. Literally nobody had any answer for dude. Dude, I'm pretty sure finished with either 90 yards or he probably got 100. I don't remember. It seemed like 90. But it seemed like every time they needed a play, if Puka wasn't available, they was going to give it to Demarcus Robinson. And even when the Saints knew they were going to him, they couldn't do anything about it. And we saw what happened, man. Also, too, there's a lot of stuff with the game that I feel like when you look at the Saints went right and went wrong. The defense, especially that before the end of that first half, man. When the Saints, they forced that 3-and-out, they had that little punt or whatever, and then they got the ball back and they didn't do anything with it, and the Rams went on to score a touchdown before halftime. I feel like that was a huge turning point in the game.
In my opinion, man,
go ahead.
I think the Saints won. I feel like the Saints won the second half battle. Like, I'm pretty sure we outscored them by like 3 in the second half. We played better defense, but the first half was
killed us. First half killed us.
Honestly, it was crazy. Like, our first two drives, I'm literally, we should have been in this game. Like, it should have literally been like one possession. Like, it should have been like the final drive. Because
didn't we go for it on like fourth, on like both of our
opening drives? It was just a lot of stupid stuff. Firstly, our first drive, we drove up the whole field. And this idiot gets sacked out of the field goal range.
You don't know who we're saying. When we're saying idiot, we're talking about Derek Carr. Yes.
He got sacked out of field goal range, right? So then we lose 3 and we end up punting. We do the exact same thing again and we lose 3, end up punting. And then I think we score a touchdown. But then we do the dumbest thing ever on the 50. Like only a minute left before the half ends.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Go for it on 4th and 5. And not just that was Olave's fault, bro. I'm pretty sure he dropped the ball. It was a bad drop too, but Carr also like forced the ball to him early, but like it was just so horrible. Like everything possible went bad for us, and we still ended up only losing by 8, which I find actually to be crazy. I think we should have lost by more, but
I'm saying it was. It's the crazy part when it's even more upsetting when you watch. When you see how like the game ended, because you realize if you would have gotten at least one more touchdown in the first quarter, that score is a totally different score than it is. Instead of being 30-22, that could be a tie game with like 50 seconds left.
And not just that, I don't know what possessed us to onside with 4 minutes left.
Yes, I don't know why we did that either. Because we had timeouts, I'm pretty sure.
Honestly, my overall analysis, we played ourselves out of the playoffs. Like, and I'll say our weakest points during that game had to be one player in the secondary who got cooked all game, Isaac Yadam. Like honestly, the Robinson was a problem, but the real problem was Puka. Because look, Puka
Thank you for the fantasy.
Puka
I will
converted everything. He
thank
converted
you for the
all their
fantasy.
third downs. And literally on their last drive, he was so crucial. Like when I think they ran the ball to him, and we had two defenders not tackle him. It just hurt, man.
Thank you for the fantasy points, Puka. I still lost the game though. Shout out Fook, but
And then like yeah, and then what's the name? Allen, bro, I can't do it. Dennis Allen, get him out of here.
yeah,
Honestly, if Mike
Dennis Allen
Tomlin
has
is
to
on the
go.
market, bro, please get us Mike Tomlin. Please. If he's on the market this summer,
You think Mike Tomlin not leaving Pittsburgh?
nah, they might fire him.
For real?
Yes, while he does not end up like pretty much losing, like he doesn't really end up with losing records, but he doesn't win like
Oh,
in the
I see what you're
playoffs.
saying. If they do get rid of Mike Tomlin and we have a chance to get him, please go get him.
Please, please.
Dennis Allen is not the answer here. I don't know what possessed us to go all in. And I go back to last offseason too. I don't know what possessed us to go all in and give Derek Carr that ginormous bag. I don't understand.
In my opinion, we didn't give him a ginormous bag, but we still gave. I think we gave Derek Carr right around what he was worth. But I also think that we've done a bad job at protecting him. Like his O line has sucked most of the year, so
Yeah.
like it's not 100% on him. But I still like if I watch other quarterbacks who don't have a line and they just play like a lot smarter with the ball. Like they're
I
more ball
don't
secure.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand.
Like
It's
Joe Burrow,
really yeah, I don't
plenty of
understand.
quarterbacks with no line to get the ball out.
Mahomes be running for his life half the time, and that dude still makes plays. And I look at Derek Carr, and Derek Carr sees pressure, and that dude curls up into a ball or throws an errant pass to the defense. And it really, as a Saints fan, it hurts. It really does.
And genuinely, he has some
There
of
was
the
there was like one pick that he had against the Rams where he literally, I kid you not, he dropped back, looked, and just floated the ball. I don't know who he was throwing it to, but it was like two Rams in that area where the ball got picked off at. And
I
the
think
close,
he made a bad read.
yeah, and it's not even just with this game. It's been like all season, man. And as a fan, it's so heartbreaking, especially since, like we said last episode, we were talking so much trash, man. Immediately after that game finished, my mom, shout out mom, my mom was like, "Well, there's always next week to make the playoffs. There's no next week.
I'm
We're
not gonna
finished.
lie, we're cooked.
We're done. We're done." And Tampa Bay beat Jacksonville last week. We're finished. We're done. We're done.
In our defense, though, if we can go at it with the Rams, I think we're gonna compete. But I don't know. I don't think we can win.
No, no, Baker Mayfield's about to. Baker, oh my gosh, man. The first time we played them, we lost like 30-6 or something. We got blown out the first time we played Tampa.
We played horrible.
Yes,
In
we
my
played absolutely.
like I said, if we can go toe to toe with the Rams, I think we can go toe to toe. But one thing we're gonna suffer this week, this coming up weekend, is goodness their pass rush.
So what's the scenario? What's the scenario? So if we win this week, then next week's for the division, or we need the Buccaneers to lose these next two games, and then we got to win next week if we win this week.
So look, I'm pretty sure the Bucks play. We play the Bucks this week or next week.
We play the Bucks this week. We play the Bucks Sunday.
Okay. So who do they play for their final game?
They play Atlanta for their. Wait, we play. Well, I can check right now. Actually,
Yeah, no, because they must play Atlanta this week.
no, we play the Bucks this week.
We either play Atlanta or the Bucks this week. I think it's the Bucks and then Atlanta.
Yeah, we play the Bucks in Atlanta.
So they play us and then who? The Panthers?
Let me see. So they have the Buck. We have the Buccaneers have us on Sunday, and they got the Panthers week 18.
Dang, that's yeah.
So, but they said the Saints can clinch by winning their two remaining games and having the Bucks lose at the Panthers. So we have a shot. The Panthers, they already played spoiler to the Falcons earlier this season.
No,
We have a shot.
but do you understand? We have to beat the Bucks
We got
and
to
the
beat the Bucks.
Falcons.
We got to beat Atlanta. We
They
have to beat the Bucks, and we have to beat Atlanta.
that means the Bucks have to lose their both of their games. I think that even if we beat them, they're gonna rebound in Carolina.
It's
because
not even in Carolina. It's at home too. Both of their games are at home.
unless they have like, and I don't know if the Panthers are really gonna have that much incentive to beat the Bucks, but we'll see. I hope they lose and we win.
That
But
would be hilarious. If we end up just getting into the playoffs, oh my gosh, that would be hilarious. But I've already checked out. I've already checked out.
look, where there's a will, there's a way. I ain't never gonna check out, but like my expectations are extremely low. I
Yeah,
can't lie.
yeah. Yeah, I'm already getting ready for the exit interviews, all that stuff, man. With the Saints this year, it's been a rough season, especially when you realize too that we had one of the easiest schedules and we're still finishing below 500. It's sad.
I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think our schedule was as easy as people made it out to be, but I still think we should have easily won 10 games. Like it's kind of disappointing, bro.
Very sad. It's
And we happen to catch the short end of the stick. Like now, the Packers are not good, but when we caught the Packers were actually like looking like they were gonna win their division or like come close at least. Like they were looking really good. But since then, I think they won like a couple games after that, and now they've like been on like a crazy
trash.
losing streak.
Baker Mayfield put up a crazy put up numbers in Lambeau last week.
But in their defense, they like their defense is like extremely injured. Their secondary, especially, which is
We
like
should have had at least like two more wins this season, man. We
no
should have
question.
at least had two more. If we
We
would
should-
have beaten Detroit, if we would have beaten the Green Bay and Detroit, we this would be a whole different conversation right now. We'll be probably
we the
talking about
Falcons, bro. We had like 300 yards on the Falcons with like one touchdown. Saints fan is suffering, man. Being a Saints fan is just suffering, man.
yeah. But yeah, moving on, man, to one of the more exciting games, more fun games that's happened. The Niners, Ravens, they played on Monday, I believe. Yeah, they played on Monday. Ravens took care of business. They smoked San Francisco. Purdy had 4 interceptions. He had 4 picks. Lamar, he did his thing. What's your thoughts on the game, man? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts.
Actually, let me go first. Let me go first because I've been wanting to say this. As I'm just happy that the Niners got exposed. I'm happy. I'm happy the Ravens defense, clamped up Purdy, bro. Purdy was not all that. I've been saying this all season. I'm just happy that it's finally been taken to the forefront. Purdy should have never been in the MVP race. Should have been McCaffrey. It should have been Debo. Yes, I said it. Purdy should not have been in that MVP race. He should not have been the front runner for MVP heading into that week. I'm happy Lamar silenced him. I'm happy they got the win. Purdy is so overrated, and it's literally not even him that's doing it. It's literally the weapons that he has with him that's making him look so good out there. That's what I wanted to say. Go ahead. Go ahead. I know you have a lot you want to say. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's like an ice cold take.
That's cold?
Everyone says that one. But number two, the fact that Brock Purdy, you're saying Brock Purdy should not be in the MVP race.
I'm
When
saying
previous to this game, he had 29 touchdowns,
he's last in attempts,
7
Kwengo.
turnovers.
He's last in attempts, Kwengo.
Okay, he
He's
doesn't.
last.
He doesn't throw the ball a lot, but he's also like he's top 10 in air yards.
Kwengo, I will be top 10 in air yards too if my yards are coming from either doing screens, slants, or
That's
little jet sweeps.
that's not what an air yard is. That means how far he's throwing the ball through the air. That means he's not throwing screens and sweeps as much as you think. Air yards is like a tally of how far the ball travels in the air.
Kwengo, he should not
That's
have been a front. He
that's
should
not,
not have been a. He should not have been a front runner over McCaffrey. If they said
good.
McCaffrey was front, what?
Yes, he should have. Are you crazy?
No, he should not have. You take
Who looked
McCaffrey off that. Stop. Kwengo, actually stop.
tell McCaffrey to go play quarterback.
Kwengo, stop. Kwengo, stop. McCaffrey is way more valuable to the 49ers success than Purdy is.
Look, everything you say about Purdy having like
Quick,
so does McCaffrey. You can say yeah, y'all say Purdy has a loaded blocking team. He has the best tackles. The 49ers are so good at blocking. McCaffrey has the same blockers, so I don't get it. Y'all are acting like he's not benefiting from the loaded team as well.
I'm saying that if you take McCaffrey off the Niners team right now versus taking Purdy off, the Niners will be in a worse spot with McCaffrey down the team than with Purdy being on the team. If Trey Lance was still here and Trey Lance had a team that was Ayuk, Kittle, Samuel, and McCaffrey, I guarantee you Trey Lance would be, if not, probably be doing the same thing that Purdy's doing this season.
Yeah,
What
you
Purdy
don't
is
know.
doing this season,
You don't
I
know
don't
ball.
know ball. Purdy
Trey
is not
had
doing nothing
him and
special.
lost the starting job and got
He got
fired.
hurt. He got hurt, didn't he?
And he didn't.
He got hurt.
Yes, and guess what? When he was healthy, they didn't want to play him. What are we talking about?
He got hurt, Quinn.
And even so, he
And they were
still lost.
and when he got hurt, they were winning. So why? I mean, why would you give the keys back there? If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Badgett had like two nice games when Fields went down, and he still came back and took the starting job. In football, as a starting quarterback, you don't lose your job to a guy who's not better than you, and you don't. Also, he had the summer to prove that he was a starting quarterback, and they still chose to not go with him. So that means he was not better than Purdy. So what are we talking about here? Are you crazy?
I'm not crazy by saying that what Purdy's doing is nothing special than what other quarterbacks around the league is doing.
Okay,
That's what
I don't think
I
he's.
don't under. You said
I don't
what?
think
You said what?
I don't think he's like a top 5 like talent. Maybe not even a top 8 talent. Maybe not a top 10 talent. But
Not top 15.
he is better than 20 other quarterbacks in the NFL, and it's just as simple as that. Like, you can say whatever you want. It seems like he's the only quarterback that doesn't get to benefit from having a good O line and good receivers. Because when it was Patrick Mahomes, when it was Aaron Rodgers, when it's been
Purdy has good
no,
receivers though, Kwengo. Purdy has he
okay,
has good receivers.
why is he getting penalized for having those players? He still has to throw the ball. He
He's
still has to.
not getting, bro. We're not penalizing Purdy, but when you're on a team where you have one of the best running backs in the league, and he's in the MVP, he's the front runner MVP, and not McCaffrey. That's ridiculous, man.
Oh, so
Heading
what?
into this game, Purdy was ahead of Lamar, and he was ahead of McCaffrey. He was ahead of Lamar and McCaffrey. That should not have been the case. Lamar was all season. Lamar has been putting up MVP numbers, but because it was Purdy and because of Purdy being back and everything like that after that injury last year in the championship, everybody was so quick to say Purdy because of that game in Philadelphia. Which I guarantee you, man, it's not because of Purdy that they won that game. It's because of Debo. It's because of McCaffrey. It's because of Kittle. It's because of Ayuk.
Did we watch the same game?
We were in the same crib watching it.
Do you? So you don't remember the Eagles? Firstly, I think they forced a 3-and-out the first drive. The Eagles score and they get the ball back, and literally the running game is gone. All Christian McCaffrey's yards came from like him playing well a little bit later into the game and then putting the ball on
And
the ground to run the
screens.
clock. That it came from them putting the ball on the ground to run the clock. Because literally when they were not allowed to run the ball, Purdy was in the pocket making good reads and throwing the ball up the field. And it's crazy how like that's invaluable now. But look at Jalen Hurts against the Seahawks. This man has 10 years in the pocket and he can't find anyone open. With Goddard, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, there's no one open.
Hurts
All Seahawks game.
all season, Hurts has been throwing the ball downfield. Hurts has been throwing the ball
No, he hasn't.
downfield. Yes, he has. Oh, Quavo.
This guy has 7 turnovers.
Gosh, man. Purdy had 4 picks on bubble screens and quick slants. What are we talking about?
First,
All of Purdy's yards, passing yards, has literally become from when receivers get the ball and what they do after they catch the ball. Not because of how far he's throwing it. It's not.
It's proven with the air yard stat that it's proven that he actually throws the ball to receivers. Like I don't know. I don't know how you dispute air yards. Like if you're top 10 and how far the ball travels, then like that's not like yak.
We're gonna search up the stats right now.
And also, secondly, about this Ravens game, They literally dominated the Ravens. The turnovers is what caused
Who dominated the Ravens?
the Niners.
No, they didn't, Kwengo. They would have dominated the Ravens, and the Ravens would have won the game.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the turnovers cost them. They did dominate. They outgained them by 100. They had like 438 total yards. They had three. They had like five turnovers. Four of them were by Purdy. And I'm not gonna like be like one of those people. A lot of people are trying to argue like they're not his fault. Some of them are his fault. Like you just don't make that throw. Sometimes you be okay with getting sacked and you just try to keep the ball. But some of them 100% were not his fault. Like he's
No,
made,
I will admit, there was like the one pick that he had on like the second drive, not the opening drive, but the second one, that was on him. That was a bad read. But the ones that were getting tipped up, the ones that were getting, deflected the line and stuff like that, I mean, you can't make that case. You can make that case, but it just seemed like,
I'm not gonna say that the Ravens game was a fluke, but like some of those interceptions were a fluke. Like it was just but it was also like they played good defense. So like props to them.
yeah. I mean, I feel like the blueprint with Purdy, just
But
like when
even with how bad it looked, if you look at what happened there for real, like they still threw for like nearly 300 yards on the Ravens. It's literally just turnovers, costly, and some of the turnovers are just like unfortunate. Like if you tip it, so
I, this is me when I'm saying this, but honestly, I just feel like where the 49ers were and where the Ravens are, I feel like it's just two different teams. I personally think that the 49ers, I, I don't know. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl this year. I already said this. I
yeah, no,
don't.
this is crazy. I'm
You
not
say
gonna
that's crazy?
see the Niners. I'm not gonna say I see them winning the Super Bowl, but I can see them winning. I see them in the Super Bowl for sure. But
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. I
they're
thought it
going
was
to the Super Bowl
okay.
too. But
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't. But Baltimore, man, they look nice. They look nice. This is going to
that's
be
Lamar
interesting to
Moore.
see. You said what?
That's Lamar Moore.
All right, man. Let me continue. Let me continue.
Bro, you,
All
you
right.
don't get it, bro. You don't get it, bro. It's a meme.
Yeah.
It's a meme.
All right. But yeah. But I mean, I'm personally thinking that the Ravens going to be nice this year. It's going to be interesting to see what they look like in the playoffs, though. Obviously, since Lamar's been in Baltimore, they haven't really had that much playoff success. Their most recent loss, when the last time they had the one seed, that was in 2019, I believe, or 20. What was it? I think it was 2019 when they lost in the divisional against Tennessee when Derrick Henry stiff armed the mess out of Earl Thomas. So, you know, yeah, so it should be interesting to see what happens if they're able to lock up this one seed. I don't want Baltimore to do well in the playoffs, man, but it's definitely gonna be a tough task for sure. Um, but yeah, man, but with the NFC and everything like that, you still have the 49ers going to the Super Bowl?
100%. They get a bye. Well, I think they. I don't know if that's in. I don't know if they clinch yet.
They didn't clinch it. They didn't clinch it. It's a three-way tie now.
Probably
It's
have
a
to win their
three-way.
last two.
It's a three-way tie now. Dallas, Dallas. No. Philly
I
and
think the
Detroit.
top is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, it's not Dallas. My bad. It's I'm pretty sure it's Philly and Detroit.
Oh yeah, no, it's the Eagles, Philly, and Detroit. Oh, why did I say Philly? It's the Eagles, the nine,
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if one of those two, that's gonna be interesting. The fact that the Eagles are still in contention for that one seed is crazy. Because I'm not gonna lie, let's talk about it. They should. The Giants could have won that game. I don't know if that game on Christmas. If you're an Eagles fan, man, like I said to my friends, that game you guys should not be proud of that. That game right there was that's a that's a worry. That's a worry for sure. Um, Only winning by 8 against a struggling Giants team that's already eliminated, that benched DeVito and had Tyrod Taylor come in and throw dots all over the field.
That's rough.
I don't know. I don't know how you go into that locker room and be like, good win, guys. 'Cause, heading into the playoffs, that's a sign of concern, man.
Yeah, you need a more
Especially your
convincing win
team
than
is
that.
healthy. Yeah, that should have been like a 34-3 slashing or something like that. Not such a close game. And to make matters worse, the Eagles were up. I'm pretty sure they were up 20-3 at half. They were up 20-3 at half, and the Giants came back, and they were just Eagles had no answer for it, and they were booing the off. They were booing the offense. They were chanting "run the ball" during the whole game and everything like that. So
Would the game
this
end up being like 25-33 or something like that?
yeah, 25-33.
Wow, that's crazy. So that means in the second half they scored like what 22 points to the Eagles like 13. Crazy.
Yeah, and the fact, and it's also too. People were saying that they missed like a PI call towards the end of the game. They missed like a PI call. There was like a couple of calls that could have went the Giants' way. But yeah, man, I said it already. After the Niners game, I didn't know if Eagles were a 1 seed. After the Seahawks game, I didn't believe they were. After this game, if they have to go on the road for a playoff game, I just do not see them getting the job done. I don't see them coming out of the NFC. It's not the same level of hunger or like drive that was there last year. If that makes sense. You get what I'm saying?
I think it's like they lost a lot of important pieces.
Yeah,
I said this even I think last year on the podcast. Like when you have so many players on that team that play so well, it's the
right,
NFL. Like you're not gonna be able to pay all these guys, and a lot of them are
right.
gonna go seek bigger contracts, which is exactly what happening. What happened? Like what do you call it? Was it C.J. Gardner? C.J. Gardner
Gardner,
ended up going to
Miles
Detroit.
Sanders too. Miles Sanders too.
Miles Sanders. Was it Javon?
Hargraves in San Francisco.
A bunch of guys ended up, and all those were like kind of key pieces on the defense,
Yeah,
especially C.J. Gardner,
yeah,
one of the best nickels in the league, man.
yeah. Gardner Johnson's nice, and now he's doing his thing in Detroit. But yeah, back to the Eagles, man. It's also really a sign of worry because you see what the team was able to do last year, and all season they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna get back to that. We're gonna get back to the Super Bowl. We're gonna do all this," and they started off similarly to how they started off last year. And it's even with this season, it's kind of like, what's going on? They're losing games that they shouldn't be losing to.
That's a fact.
They lost to the Jets that game without Aaron Rodgers. That shouldn't have happened. That game was dumpster fire. The Niners game, that game was circled on the calendar all season. Everybody knew that was one of the biggest games of the year. It's in Philadelphia, game of the week, at home, chance to really show if you're really about it or not. And you guys get blown out at home. And you guys follow that up and get blown out in Dallas after barely beating them a couple of weeks ago at home because Dak ran out of bounds. And then y'all follow that up by losing to the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Where so I mean, I just don't know what to make of the team. Especially considering the fact that we're in December. They haven't locked up the division yet. They haven't locked up the 1 seed yet. So in these final 2 weeks, heading towards like playoffs and stuff, the Eagles could well enough be a 5 seed. So they could either be playing at home during this playoff, or they could just be traveling all over the place for playoff games and stuff like that. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how these, final 2 weeks wrap up. Not just for the Eagles, but just, for the NFC in general, to really see just how this playoff really shapes up.
That's
Especially for Dallas too. I really want to see what happens with Dallas in the playoffs because I really want to see because all year we've been hearing Dallas is doing this, doing that. So it should be really interesting to see like when it comes with the Cowboys and stuff, what they do in the playoffs too. Especially since the whole Dak for MVP campaign and everything. You think this is gonna be the year that Dak finally does it? No.
can't see it. I see the Ravens ended up winning the division and ending up winning. I see Lamar winning MVP. Like
Or
honestly, especially coming up this week, he has the Dolphins. If they win it, like I think his MVP is like 100% in the bag.
they said that the Ravens win this week. If they beat the Dolphins this week, they clinched the 1 seed.
I think they
They
already
clinched one.
clinched.
Nah, they did. I could have
Yeah,
sworn they said, "Oh, my
I
bad."
don't think anyone has an even close record to them. What are they now? 11
12 and,
and
12 and
12 and
4.
3, 12 and 4.
Let me check.
I think it might be 12 and 3. I could be wrong, but I think
Let
they
me
clinched
check.
already. Like 100%. I don't
Um,
think anyone in the AFC even comes close. to their record. I think the best record after that is like maybe the Dolphins.
Ravens are 12-3. Dolphins are 11-4. So yeah, if they do win this week, they will
Yeah,
clinch the 1 seed because the Dolphins still have a chance to get it. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting to look out for, especially for the Ravens and everything like that. I hope the Ravens do good. I hope the Ravens do have a good playoff run. They're due for one, and Lamar is due for one too. Lamar's been a
yeah.
special player since he's gotten into the league and everything like that. So I'm really hoping Lamar really gets over the hump this year. But yeah, any
Honestly, either
last words
way,
on MVP? You said what? I don't want the Niners to get one. Nine. I don't need that. I want Baltimore to get. I want Baltimore to get that Super Bowl. If it's, man, that's cool and all, but oh my gosh, I'm not trying to see that. Not at all. Not at all. God, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh, here we go with the Mr. Irrelevant talk again, man. Look, I get it. Purdy. Oh, like Purdy is a solid quarterback, yes, but at the end of the day, it's really. But yeah, like I was saying, like Purdy's a solid quarterback, yes. I get it. Mr. Irrelevant, I understand. He's cool. But like, with all due respect, I just, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it yet, man. I don't. I don't. I really don't, man. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold yet. I'm not. There's a lot of like other things that have been happening with that Niners team that I feel like it's not because of Purdy, but it's more because of the pieces that they have around them.
you can be good with good pieces around you.
I mean, but you could be average with great pieces around you too.
I feel like with the problem I have, like I
That's
don't have
like
with a person
oh,
that's. Oh, go
this is a
ahead.
perfect analogy for this. This is a perfect analogy for this.
Go ahead.
You have MVP Cam Newton, right? You have
Hmm.
MVP Cam Newton. And let's
Yeah.
say you put MVP Cam Newton, you put pieces around him like no, 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 no. That's a terrible analogy. Let's say you have quarterback. Let's say you have trying to think. Name me an average quarterback. Like name me an average quarterback. Not from like now, just all the time. Just name an average quarterback.
You
Ryan Tannehill. Let's say Ryan Tannehill had Randy Moss as receiver. He had Jordy Nelson. He had Jeremy Shockey and had all these good pieces and stuff. And Ryan Tannehill was doing the bare minimum in the pocket, but was hitting his receivers, and he was able to get wins off of that. Would you say Ryan Tannehill's the MVP, or would you say that the pieces that are making Ryan Tannehill do good are the MVPs?
I would say that Ryan Tannehill is the MVP. Here's why. Firstly, it has always been the QB's job to lead the team. His
Did you
job
think?
is not to go and catch the ball. His job is not to make the skill players better. Some quarterbacks do that. Some quarterbacks make skill players better, like by I don't know, like giving them really good balls, hitting them in stride, things like of that nature. But the job of the quarterback is not to go onto the field and do things that they're not supposed to do. I don't understand what the problem is now when a quarterback does his actual job. Like now, all of a sudden, there's an issue with quarterbacks who do their job. Now you have to do whatever you have to look like a Jalen Hurts or Lamar Jackson to be exceptional, which I completely don't agree with. But that's what a lot of people think now. But Brock Purdy, because he sits in the pocket and he picks his passes, he makes good reads, he throws the ball accurately, hits his receivers in stride. He does a lot of good things as a quarterback. He has good awareness, steps up in the pocket. There's not too many holes in his game. Like there's not too many things you can call out about Brock Purdy and be like, this is affecting his team negatively. So the fact that all of this stands and many people like get onto Brock Purdy for having a good team. Okay, I understand. I'm not disagreeing that the Niners scheme is really good and they have a lot of good skill players. I agree, but so many other teams have that same thing. Like the Chiefs, with Tyreek Hill had the best skill players. They
But
had
Mahomes is still airing it out though.
see that's my whole point though. What's the relevance then? If he has Tyreek Hill who's always open, just because he airs it out, how does that like
But he wasn't just doing this to Tyreek Hill though.
Purdy? I'm not arguing that Purdy's over Mahomes, but like you're not giving the same criticism to other quarterbacks. In fact, let's mention a good one, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has just as loaded a team as Brock Purdy does, and he has 17 turnovers. Not just that, last season, no one said a thing when this guy literally, oh my goodness, he had the number one O line and D line. And no
Did he
one said,
not produce? Did he
no
not
one.
produce last year?
Okay, so look, but I'm saying Brock Purdy has been producing 29 touchdowns with 11 turnovers, and all of his turnovers, like half of them, almost more than, actually less than half, but near half of his turnovers came from this one game with Baltimore. In other games, he would go like against the Eagles. He went for 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. You're not giving the same criticism to other quarterbacks, but
Literally one of Purdy's touchdowns. Literally one
if
of
people
Purdy's
call for
touchdowns.
Hurts to be MVP last year.
Literally one of Purdy's touchdowns in that Eagles game that you're referring to was literally a quick screen to Deebo Samuel, who took that thing 30, 40 yards to the house.
Okay, so
Another one of Purdy's touchdowns from that game was Purdy going out of the pocket and throwing a cool little floater to Ayuk, who had to dive for it to get in the end zone. Another one was a quick slant.
that was
I'm
a
telling you,
great play. The ball to Ayuk was a great play.
no, I'm not saying it wasn't a great play, but what I'm saying is that what he's doing isn't special. It's literally
That's
the
is
playmakers. No, it's not. It's not more special. It's not more special. Literally, what Purdy is doing is literally his playmakers are making him special, not him. He's not making them special. His playmakers are making him special. Devo, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Kittle, what they're doing is making Purdy look good out there in the pocket. It's not the other way around. It's not the other way around.
So the fact that he has good pocket awareness, is able to step up and can read defenses,
Step up.
that's them doing that.
Kwengo, step up. Kwengo, he looks to the left, he looks to the right, he throws a screen, tosses a little jet sweep action. That's literally what he's doing. It's nothing special. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on what Purdy's doing yet. I'm not sold.
What they're saying doesn't make sense. How can you be just throwing screens in your top 10 in air yards? That doesn't make sense. That means he's putting the ball in the air. And by the way, the fact that he throws some of the least in the NFL proves that he's airing the ball out, buddy. Because if you throw the least, if he's averaging 28 attempts a game and still top 10 in air yards, that means he's airing the ball out, buddy. And that's not yak. Air yards is not correlated to yak. Yak is something completely different.
I'm not sold yet, man. I'm not sold on Purdy yet.
I don't. That's the thing. Fox don't care about feelings. He has 29 touchdowns and 11 turnovers, and is top 10 in air yards, and is number one in like so many different QB stats. So like, regardless of you think he's not good, they're making him look good. He's still top 10. That's rough.
So what's your final words about the Purdy MVP campaign, man? What's your final words, man?
Obviously, man, I think it deserves. Lamar deserves to be MVP. He has Dolphins coming up this week. Depending on how he plays, this is another thing I don't get. It like a second, like maybe like literally before this game, I think he does deserve to fall out of the number one spot for MVP after this loss. But it's going to be funny this week if Lamar Jackson, which I think will happen. I think the Dolphins will end up winning this week. Their defense has been really good for the past 3 weeks. It's been like one of the most consistent, and they've just been overall really good. Like they've been humming for real. And I don't think the Ravens are going to have an answer for Waddle and Reek, and they might even go crazy with Mostert running. Like, whereas Lamar, he's not going to have too much trouble with the D line, but their coverage is pretty solid, and their D line has been playing well. So he might not have much. They might not have a lot of places to go with the ball, in my opinion, this week. So I think the Dolphins might end up winning.
All I'm saying is Lamar Jackson, congratulations on your second MVP. Go get yourself a Super Bowl this year, man. You're gonna get it.
So what if he
Uh,
loses this week? Should he still be MVP or should it be Josh Allen?
but Lamar's MVP this year, man.
Oh, by the way, Josh Allen has 40 total touchdowns. He
Bro, speaking no, also speaking of Josh Allen, I want us to have rehash this argument thing that you said last night in the PlayStation party because I just really want to get people to really hear what the stuff that you be saying sometimes. That's not even on the podcast, man. I really want you to just
doubling down on this take.
please
Josh
double down it. Please double down.
Allen.
Hold on. I'm going to just paint the picture. Mind you, guys, this conversation was like I believe at 1 or 2 in the morning. And you know, people usually when they're on the game late, they just say stuff. They say questionable things. This by far takes the cake. They're talking football in the party, and Kwengo said this. Kwengo, the floor is yours, man. You say what you're gonna say.
Josh Allen, peak for peak, is better than Cam Newton.
You're saying prime Josh Allen is better than prime Cam Newton.
Yes, 100%.
15-1 MVP, first team All Pro. Went to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton.
It was a great. What do you call it? He had a good year. He had a great year actually. But in my opinion, at no point in his career was could he affect the game in the ways that Josh Allen could at the level that he can. Josh
Yes.
Allen, take this into consideration. Firstly, from a statistical standpoint, the season that he won MVP, Josh Allen, he eclipsed that season. Yes, he eclipsed that season in 2020, and the only reason he did not win MVP was because Patrick Mahomes threw for 6 more touchdowns with like 4 or 5 less. Actually, no, I think it's the same amount of turnovers, but maybe a little bit less. But he threw for more touchdowns. Patrick Mahomes was just so exceptional that year. But if Josh Allen had put that same stat line up in that year, he would have won MVP. So I don't get it. Like, I get it. Cam Newton was a really good quarterback for the maybe 2 or 3 week.
Good. Cam Newton was a great quarterback. One of the premier quarterbacks in the NFC at one point.
Okay.
Let's talk about it.
Okay, but he's not an all-time great quarterback. When Josh Allen,
Josh Allen's not like that either. Josh Allen's a solid quarterback. He's a solid quarterback. But you comparing his prime to Cam Newton's prime and saying that his prime is better than Cam's prime. It's absolutely ridiculous, man.
Firstly,
let's look at receivers. Let's look at receivers too.
Like, I don't put it in the hypotheticals. Like, if he was in his position, he would have done this.
Oh my gosh!
But some context as to why Josh Allen might not look as great as Cam, or like seem as great as Cam. Firstly, the NFC, especially the South, was horrible. It was horrible that year. In 2015, I believe my Saints went 7-9. We had no defense. Absolutely no defense, and I can't even name the receivers we had on our team. Actually, I can. I'm not gonna lie. I can name a few of them. But we were not good. The NFC South was not good at all. And overall, the NFC was, I'm not going to say it was horrible, but it definitely was not as good as it has been. I would like take the NFC now over back in 2015. 1. And 2, like I said, Josh Allen has already put up a similar stat line, actually a better stat line in 2020. And the only reason he did not win an MVP was because he was just eclipsed by a quarterback who was just much more phenomenal. So, like, it's not like he can't do what he does. And let's talk about this season. Even this season, Josh Allen has 40 touchdowns. 40 touchdowns. That's absurd. And the season's still going. He might end up with like 50 maybe. It's crazy. And he's 100%. Honestly, if you're going to talk about who's more valuable to a team, I believe that Lamar and Josh Allen is like really close. But what Josh Allen does for that Bills team is like crazy. It's actually crazy.
I pulled up Cam Newton's 2015 stats. Cam Newton, 3,837 yards, for passing. He averaged 7.8 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 picks, and a QB rating of 99.4. That's just just for some background. Now I'm about to pull up Josh Allen 2020 stats. Josh Allen 2020 stats: 37 touchdowns, 10 picks, and a QB rating of 107.2 with
Yeah.
4,544 yards. Those are Josh Allen's stats.
So 700 more yards, 2 more touchdowns with the same amount of turnovers. What are we talking about here?
But also, Kwengo, you do have to understand that where you're saying with Josh Allen, he has more touchdowns. Cam Newton, if you remember Cam Newton, which you should,
I
Cam
do.
Newton wasn't getting all of his touchdowns from passing. Cam
Okay.
Newton was also running all around the field, and Cam Newton was also making plays with a really a worse receiving core than Josh Allen's had. Let's
Josh
talk about it.
Allen had a top 5 tight
Diggs,
end.
Josh Allen had Diggs. Josh Allen had Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis. That's
Why
a
you acting
solid
like- No. Respectfully, the only premier name out of those 3 is Stephon Diggs.
And let's look at
Davis. If we're talking facts, Gabe Davis is very comparable to Ted Ginn. I think Gabe Davis is better than Ted Ginn, but it's not by far and away he's better. I think it's like 2 different tiers. Like obviously, I think Gabe Davis is like a receiver who's eclipsing like maybe 1,000 yards as a wide receiver too. But Ted Ginn was just like similar use, like a deep threat. You throw it over to the top because he's gonna beat someone with his speed 1-on-1. Gabe Davis is a little bit different because he's like 6'3", so he kind of has the speed, but you're also just gonna throw it over the top and let him win. But also he had Devin Funchess and
Jericho Cotchery.
didn't he have CMC?
So, that wasn't his MVP season. That was 2017.
Oh, I was about to say.
He had at that time he had Jonathan Stewart and Mike Tolbert.
But nonetheless, like obviously I would probably take Josh Allen's like receiving core, but it's not like he was not playing with like a deficient like receiving core. He wasn't playing with bad players by any margin. Ted Ginn was a pretty solid player. Like he was a good deep threat.
But if you give that Panthers receiving core to any other quarterback in the league, average quarterback at that, they're not winning 15 games, Kwengo. They're not winning 15 games with that receiving core.
I'm not saying that you win 15 games. But also he also had a good defense. Let's not forget about Luke Kuechly. Let's not forget about him. Like what are we talking about here? It's not like this guy was like playing with scrubs and just carried them to 16 wins. They were a good team.
They were a good team, but they had an even better quarterback. Kwengo?
I agree. Their quarterback was really good, but Josh Allen was good.
Stop. Because Josh Allen's doing that with his defense is suspect. It's questionable. It's not even like that. You can see it off their record this year.
What are we talking about?
What do you mean, what are we talking about? We're talking about Josh Allen.
Josh Allen single-handedly has to win. If Josh Allen does not play, some quarterbacks like look at this. I say even with Brady. This hasn't been the case for all his career, but particularly with the Buccaneers, he was able to play poorly and still win. I think he threw for 3 or 4 picks against Green Bay and ended up coming out with the win. Like Brady was able to ride that team, in my opinion, to a chip. A lot of people try to say Brady had a great season. He had a solid season. Like, still believe he was top 10 caliber, but he kind of rode that team, and it was a really good defense and good defensive coordinator to the Super Bowl. I believe that Josh Allen is one of the few quarterbacks in the league. Well, there are a couple other quarterbacks, but he has no ability to ride this team. I will say he kind of did get an easy game against the Cowboys, where his defense played the best they played all year. But other than that, he's had to be exceptional to win. And sometimes even when he's been exceptional, he hasn't had the benefit of calls, like against the Eagles or things of that nature. But Josh Allen, 100%. 100% is one of those quarterbacks that is a difference maker. He could have. I'm not gonna say he would have been 16-1, but 100%, I think he comes out of the NFC with that Panthers team, no question. Like I would not have a question about that. And I think Cam Newton was special too. But to say that he's just that, he's like way better than Josh Allen, peak for peak, or that Josh Allen can't compete. Like if you wanted to argue Cam, I wouldn't like get mad at the person who says that. But to say I'm crazy because I say that Josh Allen peak for peak, I would take him over Cam Newton. I don't think that's crazy. And if we really look at it, all of the times when Josh Allen is losing in the playoffs, who is he losing to? He's losing to the best quarterback under 30. Like he's losing to the guy who we're saying is already in the top 10. Patrick Mahomes, yes. He's losing to Patrick Mahomes. He's
Kwengo and
losing
Cam Newton's MVP season.
to teams.
Cam Newton's MVP season. He had to deal with quarterbacks such as Russell Wilson, who at the time was nice.
In the NFC?
And, yes, Russell Wilson in the NFC. He had to deal with Aaron Rodgers. He had to deal with Drew Brees in his own conference.
Drew Brees was 7-9 and had no defense.
Drew Brees is still a solid quarterback, is he not?
He was good, but that's
you were saying, but you said that the quarterbacks that he was dealing with under 30, correct? That's what you were saying.
I'm talking about Jordan. I'm talking about Josh Allen playing head to head in the playoffs and having to run into Tyreek Hill and the Chiefs. Because honestly, that game could have easily went in his favor, but Patrick Mahomes happened to have the wild card in that game. A guy who's literally gonna take the ball in the middle of the field all the way to the end zone and wave by to the defenders behind him. When Josh Allen played equally a good game, if not better, than Patrick Mahomes that game.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Anybody listening to this podcast, if y'all want to weigh in on this, y'all can always hit us up.
Respect.
At YB Pod. We love having debates like this. It was something I just wanted to bring up because I thought it was crazy. But I know that if I continue arguing about this now, and the episode's not gonna be able to go on, I may just put up a Cam Newton highlight video, post it on the YouTube because I guess people forgot. I don't know. But moving on. So we talked about the MVP. Now let's go into the world of basketball. Ja Morant, Grizzlies 4-0 since Ja's come back from his suspension. How we feeling about it? I already said like 2 episodes ago when Ja gets back, this Grizzlies team is gonna be a totally different team. They're gonna make the playoffs. And people said that I was, especially Kwengo. Well, people as in Kwengo said that I was crazy. I have not been proven wrong yet. I'm still gonna say it. This team will be making the playoffs if Ja Morant, when Ja Morant gets back and show them why they should be a playoff team, man. So, Kwengo, what's your thoughts on what I just said?
Firstly, absolutely not. Well, I actually would like to see them make the playoffs, especially considering it's been unfortunate that they had to start off the way they did. I think they were 6-19, something like that, 4-19, 5. They had a horrible record. It's crazy to lose 19 games so early, but I generally do hope they rebound. Honestly, I would like to see them make the playoffs, but for that to happen, a couple teams would have to fall. I believe the Rockets or the Warriors would have to fall. I think they can end up making it because the Rockets might fall, but it depends because the Rockets have been really solid. They've been really sturdy, and I think the Warriors, they've low-key been building upon some of their wins, like against the Celtics, and then I think they ended up losing to the Nuggets, but they look good right now against good teams. So I kind of have faith that they'll end up like just rebounding, and then they'll have Draymond back probably in like another like 10-15 games. So I can't see them completely falling out of the play-in, but I could see the Rockets falling out. So like I think it is possible that they make it, but
I definitely see Houston falling out. I don't think this level of success is going to continue throughout the season. I still think they got like a couple, like maybe a year or so. I think they got a year or so to really be able to compete. Like I said before, Memphis, totally different team. Now with Ja back, Ja, as Ja is an electric player, and what he brings to the court, it really changes the whole makeup of a team. It really changes the game plan for coaches too. Whereas with that Grizzlies team without Ja, even last year, when you look at the Grizzlies team without Ja, how they had that much success. It's because they had more pieces. Obviously, they went off season. They got rid of Brooks. They got rid of Tyus Jones. They got rid of other pieces and stuff like that. So they had to change the whole team. Also, too, it's all about gelling. So it really, you know, like I said before, I don't think their season's over yet. The only team that I've seen so far that their season is already done is with the Wizards and with the Pacers, which we'll get to shortly. Actually, I mean not with the Pacers, the
Pacers
Pistons.
or the?
Which
Oh yeah, I
I
was gonna
said
say.
Pistons.
Ooh,
But we'll get to that shortly because that on its own is nuts to me. But yeah, I believe that the Grizzlies can well enough make a push for the playoffs. We're not even in January yet. They have a shot. They definitely have enough time to do so. You look back at the Boston Celtics in 2022 at the All Star break, they were treading with the seventh seed. I think they were trading with like either the seventh seed or they had like one of the worst starts. They had like a really bad start to the season. And as we saw in April and May and June, they ended up making it to the playoffs. They made it to the finals. And they changed that whole season around with Ime Udoka. So it's definitely possible with the good amount of coaching in the team that they could well enough. I'm not saying they'll be playing till June, but they can definitely be playing in the first and second rounds. Especially when you have teams who are supposed to be good not doing their thing, like what we see with Phoenix too, which we'll also get to shortly. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole draw situation. And but yeah, and then speaking of Pistons, man, my gosh, 27 game losing streak. You just lost last night to the Nets. I don't even know how many more games they got in this calendar year, 2023, but it's not. Kwengo, what's your thoughts on this, man? This is
it's rough, man. It's a rough situation, man. Honestly, I feel like a lot went wrong as soon as Jalen Duren went down. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it would have. I don't think they would have streaked for 27 games with Cade and Duren starting. In my opinion, I think he just came back maybe last game, and he actually was playing pretty solid. But a big problem they have is they have so many young players who are still trying to find their way in the league. Like they have so many players who even started off well and maybe are not doing so well. Like Marvin Bagley, he was kind of finding his stride, I think, with the Kings, and now it's like he's been injured. He's still trying to find his rhythm, like getting back into basketball and stuff. And for the most part, they kind of just don't know what they're gonna. It seems like they don't know what they're gonna do. The players, a lot of them, don't know what their role is on the floor. Like it seems, not gonna lie, right now it looks like a bad Monty Williams coaching job. Because, but at the same time, on for in his defense, when you have so many, they have so many different like guards, and they have so much like versatility, and a lot of players who are like young and fresh to the leagues, and they don't have too many veterans. So it's kind of like no one you kind of don't know what to like ask for out of your players other than for them to just go out there and play hard because it's not like when he was at the Suns where you have D-Book who you know this guy's a scorer or like Mikal Bridges who you know is a wing and he can shoot the three where like everyone has their roles and then you have Aiton who's like your center, like everything is so set, whereas these players are still like finding themselves is what I'm saying.
yeah. I mean, I just feel like the development of these players too is another thing that comes in question. Jaden Ivey, especially Bagley, Wiseman. It's just it seems like it's like a lot of cases where you got like young players, but it's like no sort of direction on where you're trying to take these young players, especially with how to try to fit them into this roster.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like if
Because the other form, because like another thing too is that there's no way that the only veterans that you have on your roster, in a sense, are Bagley, Bojanovic, Joe Harris, and Alec Burks. That's a problem. Not taking anything away from that. Because out of all those names I just named, the only one with, and I'm being like actually playing in the playoffs experience is Bojanovic. Alec Burks too, I think. I could be totally wrong, but yeah, it's just like a lot of just question on the direction of like development and everything like that, and then you just see with the team and stuff, you have Cade doing his thing. You have Cade Cunningham doing his thing, but outside of Cade, who had 41 points the other night, you're not getting that much help with the rest of the team and everything like that. So it's really a thing of what do you do? And it's crazy too because even how they started off the season after their first game against the Heat, I thought for sure that the Pistons were going to be a different team this year because like you said with the injury of Jalen Duren, that team looked totally different. That team looked nice,
Yeah,
and they
literally, everyone was saying Cade is gonna have this team like looking nice. Cade and Monty
yeah.
are gonna cook
I
them.
said that. I was like, hold on, the Pistons are actually hanging tough. And 29 games later, it's this is what's going on. And it's a sad thing to see because Monty Williams is such a great coach, and what he was able to do in Phoenix, I definitely wish him success. But after a while, I know losing sucks. And I know a team that's been getting all these young players for over these last couple of years is. I don't think this is the direction they're continuing to go. The last time the Pistons were in the playoffs was when Blake Griffin was there.
It's crazy to think about, man. A lot of people.
That's wild to think about. The last time the Pistons were in the playoffs was when Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond and
And a
Reggie
lot of people
Jackson were on the
that
team.
during that time that Blake Griffin was washed because he wasn't like being as an explosive a dunker as he was earlier in his career.
Anyone who said that Blake Griffin was watched in the Pistons uniform has obviously has not taken the time to watch Pistons Blake Griffin work. That was his All-Star season, dude. Reworked his whole game. He started pulling up mid-rangers, three-pointers. He had a bag, everything. Literally,
Exactly.
like, and with the Pistons and everything like that, man, it's just sad to see a historic franchise like this to continue to be on the downhill. And then with the Wizards, man,
Still,
yeah,
never know what to say about those guys, man.
yeah, I really don't, man. I really don't. I try not to say anything about it, man. It's just a whole lot of I don't even know what's going on, man. I saw a Wizards highlight last night. It's like pull across somebody up. And I'm thinking they won the game. I checked back, they lost by 14. So it's one of those. It's one of those things, man. It's just been a rough season. It's been a rough season. It's been a rough season. But yeah, man. Also too, I know Wingstop is definitely they're about to go out of business in Detroit with whatnot because they had the promotion. If they if the Pistons win or whatever, you get like 5 free wings.
Oh, for real? Wow.
Yes, oh, yes, bro. It's literally like cause I saw it on Twitter, but it was hilarious.
It's getting bad for those guys. Like that's kind of rough. Wingstop is offering free food.
their
That's
Wingstop. Listen, the promo was Wingstop. They partnered with the Pistons. Uh, 5 free boneless wings with any online order after every game the Pistons win.
crazy because they know you understand that someone is sitting in an office
And
and
they're saying,
they're thinking like how
they're
many
like,
times
yeah,
are the Pistons gonna win for the rest of the year?
we're gonna
Let's
have you paying full
let's bet
price.
free wings that the Pistons will not run us out of business. They're so
Yes,
confident.
they said yes. It's the one thing this Pistons fans won't be able to get, and that's free chicken. That's sick.
Bruh.
That's sick. That's a smart play though financially though for Wingstop.
It's
But
good marketing.
that's great marketing. But that's sick. That's sick. That's sick. Moving on, man. Moving on, man. Moving on. This Pistons thing is making me sad. Moving on, man. The Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns just lost to the Dallas Mavericks on Christmas Day. Luka just had another 50 piece. At this point, it's not even surprising that he does this to Phoenix, especially after the whole Devin Booker Luka special thing a couple years ago. But you know, but yeah. Uh, I just wanted to talk about the state of the Suns, man. Obviously, this Phoenix Suns team heading into the season, huge, huge, huge aspirations. They just signed Bradley Beal. They worked their whole bench. Um, it was a full season of Kevin Durant, especially after him coming in like mid-season last year during the deadline. So it was a whole lot of outlook for the season. Currently, they sit 14th in the West, I'm pretty sure. either 13th or 14th in the West. As I just said, they lost against the Mavericks on Christmas Day. What are your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns? What are your thoughts on the Phoenix Suns?
Right now, um, I think Kevin Durant and D-Book need to get it together. I know they're going to get it together. They had a horrible shooting game against the Mavericks, and that's the only reason they lost.
Luka scored both of them.
Yeah, and I won't even say that's the only reason they lost. Well, at the same time, it's kind of hard to argue that that's not the reason they lost because what do you call it? Metu and Grayson Allen combined for 50. I believe Grayson Allen had 30, and Metu had 23
Grayson,
with 15
Grayson,
boards.
Grayson Allen had 30.
Yes.
You sure? I thought Metu had 20. I thought I saw Metu had like 20 boards or something.
I think I think he had. Oh, he might have ended with 20 and 20. He might have.
Let me check.
But
I know
all I
this.
know is KD and D Book didn't have to do much to win that game, other than to hit their shots, get to the stripe, however you do it. Which is kind of disappointing to see. But at the same time, they have a defensive issue. Clearly, it's not horrible, but
It's
because it is
not, man.
Luca, it is still Luca. But like they clearly have a issue defensively on the perimeter. One and two, Kevin Durant and D Book just have to play better. And now that they have Nurkic back, I don't know if they had Nurkic that game. I don't think they did. I think they'll look a lot better, especially tonight. I know they play tonight.
Yeah, Metu had 23 and 19.
Yeah, that's crazy.
My gosh. Yeah, 23 and 19.
But I also think they were suffering from the fact that Nurkic wasn't playing. She's a big part of that offense.
Yeah, it's just
He
so
opens a lot up on a pick and roll.
yeah, but also too, just looking at like their bench and everything like that, it's just it's just so it's not questionable, but it's definitely like a thing where you're looking and you're like, I mean, I get they got all these pieces in the off season, and I get they couldn't pay everyone. I understand that. But during the trade deadline, they definitely got to make some moves, man, because there was a time where when Booker and Durant were sitting out and Allen was out, and they had Goodwin in, and they had who else did they have in the game? They had Goodwin in, and they had Nasir Little, who's a nice player, but that cannot be your answer for your second option, for your second, not your second option, but like your second unit. And they definitely needed more people, and they definitely need. I'm not saying they need to go out and like glorify like six man, seventh man members, but they definitely need to beef up their bench because
Malcolm Brogdon, man. Malcolm Brogdon, I think, will be like one of the biggest players at the deadline because a lot
they
of
need
teams
that.
are going to want him in their second lineup.
Yes, 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 for
100%
sure.
he's going to a contender.
He
I think
definitely is. He's
I
not
think
staying.
it
He's
might
not
be
staying in Portland.
I think it might end up being the Lakers or maybe I think the Suns actually should be the front runners. They have Eric Gordon, but I would take Malcolm Brogdon over Eric Gordon at this point.
And they have Gordon starting right now
Gordon starts. I thought it was KD Book.
on
Oh yeah, yeah, he
on the
does.
Mavericks game. He started. Yeah, it was
He does
KD,
start because
Eubanks, Gordon, Allen, and Booker.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Brogdon. They should definitely go after Brogdon. 100%, he would help that team. He helped that team drastically.
it's yeah,
It would allow D Book to play off ball. You might even start him honestly.
most definitely, man. It's definitely just a thing where you look at the Suns, you're like, you guys are supposed to be way better than this, especially when you got two All Stars in KD and D Book. Like you guys are supposed to be better than this, man.
I
Yeah,
think they'll get
14.
together though. I don't think they're gonna play themselves out of the playoffs or
If
playing.
they play themselves out of the playoffs this season, well, like they definitely got to do some stuff in the offseason for sure if they play themselves out of the playoffs. But I
If
hope they don't,
about the
man. But
playoffs and I was KD, I would start thinking about retiring.
retiring, I was gonna say just think about going to a different team.
That's not a good look. Unless he comes to the Wizards. I would love to see him come to the Wizards, man. Come back home, man.
Yeah, let that go. He's not coming to Washington, man. He's not coming to Washington.
Who's fan, bro?
Yeah, I know that, but he's not coming to Washington, man. His
Oh, I
best
was,
chance
just,
to
I
come.
was just I was just putting you back in your place though, because like
Oh, you're putting me back in my place.
yeah,
Did your team? Oh, my fault. My team didn't win on Christmas Day either. My fault.
oh, hold up, wait a second. Has your team made it out of the second round?
Here we go, man. Didn't your team get swept in the playoffs last year?
A playoffs that they didn't even belong in. That people said they weren't making. Firstly, let's start it off because I remember last year when I said the Lakers had a harder path to the Western Conference Finals, I was talking about just in the whole on the year. I was not talking.
You said they had a harder. No, you said playoffs. You said playoffs. You said they had a harder path to get to the conference finals than the Heat.
Even if you want to factor in the playoffs, honestly, I would say considering if you consider the context, then certainly because in the first round they played against the Bucks. While I think the Bucks, I'm not gonna say they should have won that series because they had Chris Middleton come back from injury, and Chris Middleton right now actually looks pretty good. But like
Right.
right around then, he was not looking like himself. One, two, they didn't have like enough perimeter defense. Like, okay, they kind of did, but it was kind of like they let Jimmy Butler ISO.
Wait, did the Bucks win the title 2 years ago?
2021, yeah, they did.
Dang, it doesn't even feel like it was 2 years ago. My
Yeah,
bad. Continue.
but I think that Bucks team, I think they were good enough to win, but only if Giannis was fully healthy. Because Giannis was not healthy, I think it
Yeah.
majorly affected that series. And while the Heat still were underdogs, I think that the matchup was closer than people are giving it credit to be. Like people were acting like, oh man, the Bucks are 1 seed. They should come in here and turn it up and just get these guys out of here in 4.
I
Firstly,
agree.
we have always known that Jimmy was not a scrub in the playoffs. He has Tyler Hero, Bam, one of the best defenders in the league. Honestly, he's been like top 3 on.
Then you had the emergence of Caleb Martin too.
Yeah, so like while I do give the props to the Heat for coming out of that series, especially the way they did, I would argue it was much closer than people think, especially considering that team was really banged up. And then the second series, they played the Knicks. I think that alone speaks for itself.
But
I would say
that was still a tough series though. That still
I,
was a tough series.
it ended in 5, buddy.
Jalen Brunson had 40. Knicks could have easily won.
And they
No,
had a
that,
player on their
no, that
team.
ended in 6. That ended in 6.
It, oh, it did. It did. They had a player
Yeah.
on their team who was playing with a Heat jersey on, and his name he goes by the name of Julius Randle. This man had a Heat jersey on the whole series. This guy,
Oh,
watch Jalen. This is one thing I genuinely believe the Knicks should have got rid of him after I saw this. Brunson is coming up the court for a Heat check. He is cooking right now. This guy takes the ball and ISOs while Jalen Brunson is calling for the ball after he had just scored like 9 straight points. I've never seen a guy so selfish, self centered, and just downright horrible. It was horrible. So with that series, and also Jimmy didn't even play the whole series, and they still ended up coming out with a win, which is why I kind of and
he was
and
hurt one game.
here's the series where I think is the most controversial, like made my take the most controversial. The Celtics. The Celtics and the Bucks were the 1 and 2 seed. So like I get it. People are like going off a name and face value. But what I'm talking about is how badly the Celtics came in there and shot themselves in the foot. The Celtics came into that series and played worse than anything I've ever seen from like a top caliber team. They gave all of those games away until like game 4 when they actually decided, game 3 when they started deciding to play basketball. And what I was saying when I was talking about the Lakers was, firstly, in their first series, they're playing the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies were not like really that great last season, but like the Lakers were like slightly, I think they were slight underdogs in that series. And LeBron and the Lakers like absolutely embarrassed the Grizzlies in that series.
Hey, Kwengo, the cops looking for you?
You can't be serious. But they absolutely embarrassed them in that series. And then the next series, they ended up playing the chip team from the previous year. And they embarrassed those guys as well. They made Stephen Curry look like a Gerber. They had Anthony Davis on the perimeter guarding this guy. Vandal had this man in a jail cell. It was rough, man. And then they ended up playing the Nuggets, and that's where it all. That's where their insanity run ended. It was done right there.
Nah, I didn't believe y'all were gonna win
But
this
all those
series
games were
anyway.
competitive though with the Nuggets, and honestly, they should have came away with a couple wins for sure. But
I didn't believe y'all gonna win that series anyway, man. I didn't.
I
I
thought the
wasn't
Lakers
sold.
had it. I'm not gonna lie. I was
I
thinking
definitely didn't.
AD comes into this series, you know what I'm saying? Jokic has been cooking, but like maybe he can, you know what I'm saying, put the clamps on Jokic. And here's the
Nah,
problem. He definitely no. I want to give AD his props. Him and Rui for a couple of games, for I think 2 of the 4 games, played really good defense on Jokic. The problem is when Jokic was covered, it was Murray, bro. When Jokic wasn't hit, when things weren't going for him, it was Murray, man. That guy was just killing us, man. Like he was hitting contested shots, the buzzers. He's shooting grenades, man. 5 seconds left on the shot clock, and he has the ball sometimes double teamed. LeBron in his face, anyone in his face, he's still making it.
nah. That duo was actually really really nasty in the playoffs last year. Just
And
throughout the whole playoffs, man. It was just so cool to see how both of them were like working and stuff like that.
yeah,
It was crazy.
we're even trying to get like players like Aaron Gordon and Bruce Brown to beat us, and that's exactly what they did. They're over here hitting threes on us, and it's like, yeah, when you have all that going for you,
They even had Christian Braun doing that thing. It
yeah, when
was
you have
it
all
was
that going for
crazy.
you, it's pretty hard to lose that series. But this year, if the Lakers end up making it to Western Conference Finals again and they see the Nuggets, I think I'm not going to say they're going to win, but I think they're much more equipped than they were
Okay.
last year to
So
defend.
instead of going to 4, it's gonna go to like 6. That's what you're saying. My fault. All right, go ahead, Kwengo.
As I was saying, I think Torian Prince and Cam Reddish on the perimeter is a really good change for the Lakers because now you kind of have someone who you can put on Jamal Murray, and it kind of just improves your defensive scheme overall. Like if you want to run like a zone or anything, or you want to like run like zone blitzes. So yeah,
Like I said, I mean, if they met, probably go to 6. I still think the Nuggets will win the series without a doubt. We'll see, for sure. But yeah, man. Any final words, man? That's pretty much gonna wrap up the episode. I'm not gonna lie, we talked about a lot. This episode went on, I'm pretty sure, for like a cool hour and 30. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't have too much to say, man. I just want to say, I'd like to see the Ravens Niners Super Bowl, man. I would like to see Purdy or Lamar winning, man. I think it's gonna be a great Super Bowl no matter what. It would just be nice to see one of those 2 quarterbacks. The guy who's, you know what I'm saying, going last in the draft, and also the quarterback who I think is playing the best, 1 and 2, kind of he's just been working really hard, and it would just like to be nice to see him win.
My final words. Go Who's. UVA won. UVA just won the basketball game. Go Virginia. Be
Oh,
down
what happened?
south.
What happened in March?
You said what?
What happened in March? Wasn't it when he tried to inbound the ball and then he turned it? What happened?
Oh, what happened? What happened in March? We won the national title. That's what happened.
You talking about 5 years ago?
No, I'm talking about 2 years ago. Actually, yeah, we won a national title against Texas Tech. Yeah, yeah. With Kyle Guy and DeAndre Hunter. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Still talking about this. Still talking about this chip, man.
What are you talking about? What game are you talking about? There's so many UVA games that have happened. So
I'm talking about the one in March Madness this year where
do you have any proof? Do you have any proof of that game happening? Because
you get me serious. You're funny, man.
are you actually searching it up right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what game you're talking about. I don't know what game you're talking about at all. All I know is that we're undefeated in March, national title, national champs.
It's delusion, man.
I'm sorry. Who's your school? What school do you? Who's your
I don't
team?
have a college basketball team,
Oh,
honestly.
all right. Yeah.
It doesn't
You
make
see how
me
you?
tough though. So
Yeah. You see how you want to hate on UVA, man, for no reason, man. Just join us, man. We play basketball the right way. We play basketball the right way.
No one's joining UVA, bro.
Everyone's joining UVA, man. But like I was saying, yeah, UVA just won. Cam Newton's one of the greatest QBs of our generation. All right, no. Let me stop. Cam Newton's is better than Josh Allen in his
No.
prime. Yes. That's my closing. Sixers are beating the Magic right now. Go Sixers. Saints. Uh, go Saints. Whatever. But yeah, man, that's going to conclude another episode, man, of the Youngbouls podcast. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Kwengo, are we thinking about doing another episode before the new year?
Yeah, we could probably get one in. Probably after this week, honestly. Ravens Dolphins game is gonna be good.
Yeah,
Could be.
because New Year's is Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. So we'll probably get you guys one more episode until before 2024. If we don't, by any chance, we'll definitely get you one New Year's Day for sure. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Another episode of Young Bulls Podcast. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us at YB Pod. Thank you to, Kwengo for taking time being here, man. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Happy holidays. Peace. My fault. All right, go ahead, Kwengo.
As I was saying, I think Torian Prince and Cam Reddish on the perimeter is a really good change for the Lakers. Because now you kind of have someone who you can put on Jamal Murray, and it kind of just improves your defensive scheme overall. Like if you want to run like a zone or anything, or you want to run like zone blitzes. So yeah,
Like I said, I mean, if they meant probably go to 6, I still think the Nuggets will win the series without a doubt. We'll see, for sure. But yeah, man, any final words, man? That's pretty much gonna wrap up the episode. I'm not gonna lie, we talked about a lot. This episode went on, I'm pretty sure, for like a cool hour and 30. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't have too much to say, man. I just want to say, I'd like to see the Ravens Niners Super Bowl, man. I would like to see Purdy or Lamar winning, man. I think it's gonna be a great Super Bowl no matter what. It would just be nice to see one of those two quarterbacks. The guy who's, going last in the draft, and also the quarterback who I think is playing the best, 1 and 2, kind of he's just been working really hard, and it would just like to be nice to see him win.
My final words, go Who's, UVA won. UVA just won their basketball game. Go Virginia. Be
Oh,
down
what happened?
south.
What happened in March?
You said what?
What happened in March? Wasn't it when he tried to inbound the ball and then he turned it? What happened?
Oh, what happened? What happened in March? We won the national title. That's what happened.
You talking about 5 years ago?
No, I'm talking about 2 years ago. Actually, yeah, we won the national title against Texas Tech. Yeah, yeah. With Kyle Dye and DeAndre Hunter. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Still talking about this. Still talking about this chip, man.
What are you talking about? What game are you talking about? There's so many UVA games that have happened. So
Well, I'm talking about the one in March Madness this year where
do
y'all.
you have any proof? Do you have any proof of that game happening? Because
You get me serious. You're funny, man.
are you actually searching it up right now?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what your game you're talking about. I don't know what game you're talking about at all. All I know is that we're undefeated in March. National title, national champs.
It's delusion, man.
I'm sorry. Who's your school? What school do you? Who's your
I
team?
don't have a college basketball team.
Oh,
Honestly.
all right. Yeah.
It doesn't
You see how you?
tough though. So
Yeah. You see how you want to hate on UVA, man, for no reason, man. Just join us, man. We play basketball the right way. We play basketball the right way.
no one's joining UVA, bro.
Everyone's joining UVA, man. But like I was saying, yeah, UVA just won. Cam Newton's one of the greatest QBs of our generation. All right, no. Let me stop. Cam Newton's is better than Josh Allen in his
No.
prime. Yes. That's my closing. Sixers are beating the Magic right now. Go Sixers. Saints. Go Saints. Whatever. But yeah, man, it's gonna conclude another episode, man, of the Young Bulls podcast. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Kwengo, are we thinking about doing another episode before the new year?
Yeah, we could probably get one in. Probably after this week, honestly. Ravens Dolphins game is gonna be good.
Yeah, because New Year's is Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah. So we'll probably get you guys one more episode until before 2024. If we don't, by any chance, we'll definitely get you one New Year's Day for sure. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Another episode of Youngbouls podcast. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us at YB Pod. Thank you to, Kwengo for taking time being here, man. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Happy holidays. Peace.